Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'll be working on my witch's tree.
Trees are often called a witch's tree if they're old and contorted and twisted. So that's the image I'll be going for with this planting. So this tree is growing over top of a rock, which is completely hidden. So today I'm going to expose the roots a bit, take all these rocks that are holding the roots in place away, and do some general work on the tree.
I'm going to start the work today by removing these heavy rocks that are holding the roots in place against the rock that the tree is growing over. So here I go. Wow, that's a big heavy rock there. There's a lot of liverwort in here too that I'm going to get rid of. Now, we'll get this one. There's a big one at the back here I can remove. One at the side. No wonder this planting was so heavy. There's so many stones in here.
Here's a look at all the rocks that were holding the roots in place. No wonder this planting was so heavy. I think I'll be able to lift it up with one hand now. So I'll take the rocks away. I'm going to get rid of all the liverwort here, some of the weeds, and then I'll come back and we'll start combing the roots out. Chunks of it. Yeah, the liverwort gets a good root system. It makes it hard to water your trees.
I've got the weeding all done. The next step will be to rake out the soil and expose the roots and the rock. All right, here I go. Let's see how firmly the tree is on the rock. It's pretty good. It's gripping the rock quite nicely. So there's my rock down here. It's a limestone rock. So I may have to push these roots against the rock with some moss and kind of get them going in the right direction and in the right place. And I've got my misting bottle out so I can mist the roots as I work away. So I'm raking the soil out the top part of the root base here because I can kind of bare root that section, just like I did on my little cedar spirit tree. I'll show you that. Here's the rock that the tree is growing over, and I've exposed the roots in this area and just kind of pushed moss around the roots in the rock to hold them in place until they thicken up and mature and really grip that rock surface. So that's what I'll be doing to the witch's tree today. It's a fairly large rock, this limestone rock. It has more of a cliff face on this side, and the roots will be kind of draped over the rock this side. So it should look pretty nice someday, I hope. I don't know how many years it'll take before, the roots are all fully exposed, but I would guess, 2-3 years maybe. maybe 4. So this part of the penjing will represent the water, and then this will be represent a cliff face, and then the land will go off to the side. Now I'll start to kind of wash out the soil from the top of the root base here. I'll put my mister on jet. I'll pick away the moss at the root base here. I don't want that growing up. I have this deadwood at the back of the tree, and my plan was to strip, live veins off the tree, have it heal over, and then kind of keep repeating the process over many, many years. And that'll give the trunk a really ancient, weathered appearance. Look like it's just, seen everything Mother Nature could throw at it. Storms, lightning, everything, and then the tree still lives. So that's the plan for the tree, is to keep injuring it, letting it heal, injuring it again, letting it heal. Just keep repeating the process. I've got the base of the tree weeded. I took all the moss off, which can, cause your bark to retain too much moisture, and it'll start rotting your flaky bark away. I've kind of cleaned the root base out, getting all the soil out. Not all of it, but as much as I can. So there it is. It's looking pretty good. A few bugs crawling around. So I was looking at the roots here, and there's one root that bothered me. It was this one right here. Instead of being radial, it kind of grows across the trunk and then comes down. So I'm going to remove that root there. Yeah, it's got to come off. That did the trick. That looks good. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot better. Got nice radial roots now. Some of the roots are really nice. They got a bit of character to them. Now that'll just get better in the future as they thicken up and really grip that rock. This is the front of the root base. So I've got a few roots that are a little long that I'm going to trim. Okay, now I can go collect some moss, and I'll start mossing it. And I think I'll just put the moss up to about, up to about here, and leave the top part of the root base exposed. I've collected some moss from the front sidewalk, and it grows in a really fine silt, so it's really good for applying on top of the roots. So I'll soak the moss, just get it nice and wet. Soften it up. We had a pretty good dew this morning, so there is a lot of moisture in it. It's not dry like the last ones I collected. All right, I'll start applying the moss now. So I'm going to kind of, squeeze it into the roots here. And that'll hold all these roots in place against the rock. And this kind of silt and moss will probably, I'll be able to just wash it away eventually. So you want to push it down fairly firmly to get those roots right against the rock. almost like working the soil into your roots. Just noticing there's another root here that's kind of strange. It's crossing. I'm going to cut that out. We'll cut it off here. And it goes into the soil here, so I'll cut that away. Like that. That looks better. Now you might say, shouldn't the witch's tree have a contorted root system that crosses and looks matches the top of the tree? And I don't know. I think the roots, as they thicken up, will look better arranged like this. That's my feeling anyway. I think it'll be a stronger, more powerful base to the tree. If I have them kind of all knotted and that, it'll look kind of ordinary, I think. I think this will make it look kind of special in the end. There's lots of ways too that you can get character in your roots. You can injure them just like I'm doing on the trunk of the tree. Scrape away part of the root, so it'll cause callousing and injury on the root, and it'll heal over and make scars, and you can get some pretty cool roots that way. Very contorted looking. Gnarly, that's the word I'm looking for. Gnarly root base. So now these roots, they're kind of, I got to get them gripping the rock down here. Like that. And then I'll put some moss around the top here. Like that. And if you didn't have access to, any moss, you could use sphagnum moss. You could use a mud mixture. There's lots of things you could put around the roots to hold them in place. You just mix up peat moss and manure and make a nice muck mix to put around your roots. But I like this moss. It seems to work really well. And you just piece it all together like a jigsaw puzzle. And as the moss grows, it kind of binds it as one piece. Oh, I need some more up in here, just to get that in there. So I'm slowly encasing the rock with moss and muck, covering the roots up. So roots, when they're exposed to the air, they get bark on them, just like the trunk of the tree. So it's kind of, nice to slowly expose them. And eventually you'll have a really cool root system. You have to be patient. You have to be patient with root over rock. It's quite a long-term process to get the roots exposed and arranged on the rock. you're probably looking at 3 to 5 years, depending on how fast the species grow. Like some of the maples, they can grip the rock in just a couple of years because the roots grow really fast. But some of the slower growing trees may take many, many years, maybe even up to 10 years. That's why kind of root over rock is, when it's done right, it's pretty special to look at. And it's pretty amazing. It has a big wow factor because, you know, it looks like an ancient tree that's been there forever. Okay, so I've got the rock covered up pretty nicely. Now there's a look at it. I'll spin it around. I've got to cover up these remaining roots that are sticking out here, kind of getting them down into the soil. So I'll rake away some of the soil here, like this. Get the roots into the soil, and then I'll just kind of backfill them, like that. So that gets them nicely under the soil. Some of these areas I'll put a little more soil around, like that, just to cover the roots up. I think that's going to do it. That should hold everything in place. The roots are all safely in the soil. All right, I'll give it a good watering now. I'm going to add a little powdered 20-20-20 fertilizer to my water. So about that much for 2 liters. So I'll just add it, stir it up. I add the fertilizer to my water every time I water the trees. So they're constantly being fed fertilizer, but a very, very weak solution. All right, here I go. And that should be good. It would be tempting to tidy up the upper canopy, you know, pinching it back. However, my objective is to grow the root system. So to grow the root system, you know, fairly quickly to grip the rock, I just let the top of the tree grow every year. And then once a year, usually in fall or spring, I'll prune it back hard and then let it grow the following year again. That way you're, you know, concentrating on growing this root system. Vigorous growth up top means you get vigorous growth on your roots. I had a visit from Patrick the other day. He came and checked out my bonsai trees, and he brought me some cashew seeds for planting. I'll show you those.
It keeps coming back, eh?
Keep coming back. Wow. It's really old. This thing is, it's about 20 years old.
20 years old. Yeah. I still can't get over the difference. You see, like seeing that and seeing it on video.
Okay.
The size difference is completely, like, I mean,
really?
There's no comparison. You have to see it in person.
Okay.
Okay. Some of the big plantings that you have, that's your asparagus fern?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, I mean, that looks twice the size. That
Oh,
looks
really?
like camera.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's just so forceful coming out. It's beautiful.
Seen it here.
I've got the cashews in the greenhouse here. So here they are. They're quite large. So these seeds are from Laos, the country Laos, which is, you know, near Cambodia and Vietnam. So it'll be really exciting to plant those. I do have some updates on my seeds that I planted, and let's go over here to the sequoia seed tray, and down here, right here, I've got 1 sequoia growing. And over here, I have another one. So I've got 2 so far. It looks like there's a seed popping out there too, so maybe 3 coming. Oh wait, there's another one here, 4. So that's exciting. The sequoia seeds are germinating. I don't know how many I'll get, but even if I only get 4, that's exciting. Over here in the Jerusalem thorn area, you can see the leaves are coming out quite nicely on them. Those nice compound leaves. The mystery seeds are also sprouting over here, the ones I have no idea what they are. But you can see the first set of immature leaves there growing. So that's exciting. Nothing happening in the hornbeam section. So I'm still patiently waiting there. The dogwood section, nothing happening there either. The Brazilian rain tree is looking good. It's, again, recovering from repotting. Few yellow leaves, but the leaves that are here are looking really good. So, yeah, I'm excited to get that growing this summer. The moss that's on my little cedar spirit tree, you know, the same technique I used on my witch's tree, has gone through some pretty heavy rain now, and it's staying on the root system. It's not washing away or anything, so that's good. So I expect, you know, similar results with my witch's tree, that the moss won't wash away in a heavy rain. I'm really excited about this witch's tree. I think it's going to make a cool bonsai in the future. I think that root system is developing really nicely. I'm not sure how many times I've root pruned this tree, but it's been a few times to get that nice kind of radial root system going. So yeah, so the top will just be left to grow wild the entire summer, you know, to get those roots growing too. We've got a nest full of baby house wrens in the birdhouse up there. Up here, oh, there's the mother. Flying in, there she goes. How exciting. Most of the silkies have like a fuzzy hairdo on top, but this rooster here, he's got kind of the swept back blonde hair. He's pretty stylish. Hey, Mr. Style, Mr. Fashion. Yeah. Yeah, kind of looks like David Bowie or something. Here's a chicken having a dust bath here. This one's really old. She is at least 10 years old, maybe 11, maybe even 12. Her one eye's kind of partially closed. But she's looking healthy so far, lived a long life. Yeah, that's a good dust bath, eh? Yeah, you like that. Nothing better than sitting in the sun in a nice cool hole having a dust bath. I'm happy to take my witch's tree on another small step forward to getting the roots gripping the rock and creating a nice image in the future. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.